Welcome into warchant.com. First off the field, Ryan Kelly, Gene Williams, warchant.com. Gene, first scrimmage in the books, my friend, and well, Jimbo seemed all right. It wasn't the typical bad scrimmage. It wasn't necessarily the typical good scrimmage, but he seemed okay with what happened today.
Well, for a first scrimmage, generally Jimbo's probably on the negative side for a first scrimmage. Obviously, you're out here. It's the first time the guy's doing it, full situations, full scrimmage. He was pleasant. I think he got better as it went on and started talking about which guys stood out and all. That guys, in the most part, did a good job getting lined up, doing what they needed to do. So I'd say a positive first scrimmage.
Yes, positive first scrimmage, and of course a scrimmage that's going to help decide a couple competitions.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Everyone's looking at that cornerback position. Obviously, you got McFadden going against Marcus Lewis, and Jimbo said those guys are both splitting their reps of the ones right now. I'd say that one's up for grab. The other one is interesting, the kicker competition. Logan Tyler and Ricky Aguayo seems to be going back and forth with those guys. Jimbo said during the scrimmage they both kicked pretty well. There was maybe one miss during the whole scrimmage, so pretty positive output from those guys too.
I know in warm-ups every day we've gotten to see them in practice. They've traded blow for blows. Maybe sometimes one will have a bad day, the other will have a bad day, but for the most part it's been a pretty fair, pretty open competition. Deondre Francois, of course, is the guy that everybody's got their eye on because, I mean, it's the quarterback. Come on. Jimbo Fisher had more good things to say about him today.
For the most part today, he threw the ball really well, made a lot of plays downfield, had quite a few touchdown passes. I think we had one interception, and it was a perfect decision, just a hair, but he threw it with conviction. Actually, it wasn't a bad interception to me. It was right guy, right place, just threw it about 2 inches high. You know what I'm saying? And you can work with that, but threw it convincingly and and made the play. But from that standpoint, I was happy.
Are you seeing him getting more conviction behind the ball and feeling
Yeah.
comfortable with his decisions?
It's hard to stand by me and not get it. At least you better pretend to get it. You don't want to hear it.
So you heard it there, Deondre Francois. Gene, you expect anything less, considering how Jimbo's talked about him the last couple days?
I think it was more positive than I thought. He said, the thing that stood out to me, he said how much he threw with conviction. There was one interception, he said, it was just a couple inches off. And the fact that he's done that well in a first scrimmage, and we were talking to Derwin James, he said how impressed he was that he was taking a leadership when guys would run a wrong route, he was pulling them aside. And not only was he doing the leadership, they were accepting the leadership, which is a tough thing to do sometimes with a redshirt freshman. So I say very positive grade, at least from what we heard from Jimbo and players about Deondre's performance.
And of course, we've all talked about this. Deondre Francois is a guy that's all business. When he buys in, well, this team seems to be buying in, and Jimbo Fisher certainly bought in on him. Any final thoughts as we go away outside of, well, really the good news, nobody injured?
Well, I was going to say that's my final thought. The thing you worry about the most in this intense heat, I don't know the heat index, but I'm guessing it was over 100 degrees again today. The fact that Jimbo said, for the most part, they handle it pretty well. Need to get a little mentally tougher because all those noon games going to have to handle it. But he said as far as he knew, no major injuries, and so cross your fingers on that.
The noon game he brought up, of course, the one he called my name, was the one at Papa John Stadium up in Louisville. Don't know if it'll be quite as hot in Louisville, Kentucky as it is here in Tallahassee.
Cool,
oh, no, not at all. But hey, you might as well prepare for the intense conditions early on in this season. For more coverage on fall camp, stick with us, warchant.com.